Yo, 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 you tuning into the Notion Podcast. I'm your host, Dspill, and you're tuning into another live. And for those that's been tuning into all the lives, I appreciate you. I appreciate it, and I appreciate you. Seriously. Um, I don't know how long this live is gonna go, but I do know that I wanted to talk about this on my other show, and I'm like, nah, I'll wait. And I'm gonna save this specifically for the Notion podcast. I just think it's a good idea. But what I wanted to cover is I wanted to cover some controversial things, and I just want to ask questions. Like, to be honest, the reason why I go live is to include you guys in the conversation. That's why I go live. I do it to include you guys in the conversation so you guys can leave comments in the chat. And the more we get active and the more that we build, the more I really do want to bring people on, kind of like in a panel, and we have a actual discussion with some substance. I've seen a lot of panel discussions. I've seen a lot of things where people say things in the comments and on other pages and stuff like that, other channels, but not really adding any substance to the conversation. It's kind of what you typically hear. So actually, there is no before. I want to go ahead and I want to get into this, okay? So, Terrence J, okay? Let me drop this right here really quick. See that? Terrence J, for you guys that may not be familiar, Terrence J used to be the host of 106 in Park, okay? That's where he got his start. He's still in media, but he's been in some movies like I believe Think Like a Man and the sequel and things of that nature. He's getting some backlash right now because he's 41 years old and his fiance is 25. And this isn't the first time I've heard of this, and I find it interesting because I think one of the other scenarios was our good brother Marcus Houston. He was 20 years older than his fiance and now wife. And if I'm not mistaken, I've been hearing some rumblings that they might be separating or getting a divorce. But he got some backlash too about dating someone and being with someone that's really, damn, I guess a couple decades younger. But the whole point is, I'm curious to know why you guys think this is an issue. See, I understand. Growing up, I understood, like, when you seen teenagers, when you see like an 18-year-old dealing with a 16-year-old, you got clowned for that when I was in high school. It was like, yo, what's up, man? What kind of time are you on? It was very common, in a weird way, it was very common for girls in high school that we knew to be dealing with guys in college, which means there's a huge age gap. If you're a freshman, sophomore, I mean, if you're a senior, you could have kind of got away with it, but like freshmen, sophomores, even juniors, when somebody in college was messing with somebody from high school, I thought it was weird way back then because one person's underage and the other one obviously isn't. So I'm just curious as far as why is it in entertainment that when you see something like Terrence J and his fiance now, and the same thing with Marcus Houston, why is it such a huge deal when men do this? And I mainly hear about it with black men. I don't hear about, I mean, we've heard about Leonardo DiCaprio and stuff like that, but with black men doing this, it is a huge issue. So like I said, you could definitely leave your comments in the chat and let me know what you think. But I posed that question, but I also have my own synopsis on this, okay? So my thing is about Terrence J and this situation. I have a few mixed emotions about this. I'm not going to sit up here and be like I 100% support it, but what I will say is that since social media has been a big thing, we've been able to learn a lot about character, a lot about perspective, and all of that stuff, okay? Now, this is what's interesting about it. He's getting backlash because he's 41 years old dealing with a woman that's 25. Of course, people have their own titles and stuff like that to kind of bait the conversation. But here's my question. Drea Michelle, she kind of gets joked on, because her baby daddy, because I don't even think that's her fiance, her baby daddy is the same age as her oldest child. Okay? You are not hearing me wrong. Uh, Video vixen, I think Bernice Burgos, is that how you say it? She was dealing with Jalen Green. I don't know if she still was, but that's a huge age gap. Hell, Jay-Z and Beyonce have a pretty significant age gap. It's not as much of a gap as this, but they do have a pretty significant age gap. So what I wanted to ask you guys, if you are comfortable and bold enough to leave your takes in the chat, what is the proper age gap for two adults? Because at the end of the day, whether we agree with this situation or not with Terrence J and his fiance, what do you think are appropriate age gaps for adults? I think that's a weird question because they're both adults, but what is the appropriate age gap? I want to see. Y'all go ahead and throw that in the chat. And when we see people that critique and judge people that are in relationships that have a significant age gap, are we looking at the man or are we looking at the woman, or are we looking at the oldest versus the youngest? And what I mean is, it's very common to look at the man if the man is older. But if it's a woman that's older and she's dating a younger man by, she's 20 years his senior, are we still holding accountability on her, or are we now holding accountability on that man? What do you guys think about that? Now, while you're thinking about that and deciding if you want to leave a comment in the chat, here's my perspective. I think 10 years is when you start pushing it. I think if you have a 10-year gap, it's manageable, but you're pushing it. Would I personally deal with somebody 10 years younger than me? I don't know. And I'm going to tell you why. I think for me personally, if I was in that situation, which of course I'm not, never will be, if I'm in that situation, I'm looking at what we can relate to. When most of my friends are my age or a year younger than me or a year older than me, or we're all like right there. We put it like this. We were all 90s kids at the same time, right? Most of us were born in the 80s. And so when we reflect on movies, when we reflect on experiences, playing outside, riding bikes, the type of music through the different eras, we could relate to each other. So I just feel like if I was dealing with somebody 10 years younger than me, there's so much we wouldn't be able to relate to because there's a lot of newer artists and new music that I don't know about and I don't listen to. Part of it is because so much music is being put out so fast, and movies and entertainment, all of this stuff is just out there. It's just so much overload. So information overload with social media. You know what I mean? So it would be very challenging for me to feel like I can truly relate. It's not to say that, somebody 10 years younger than me or 15 years younger than me doesn't know what it was like in the 90s or, different artists and different experiences, but there are some possible disconnects there. So it can be challenging to be relatable. You know what I'm saying? So that's really my take on the 10-year thing. Now, just now thinking about it in real time, would it be challenging for me to deal with somebody 10 years older than me if I was in that situation? Never will. I don't think it would be challenging only because I think I would have had the cheat code. Y'all can tell me what y'all think, but I think the cheat code for me would have been the fact that I have older brothers. So both of my older brothers that I grew up in the home with, I have more siblings, but the ones that I grew up in the same home with throughout my life, they were 10 and 11 years older than me. So because of that, me being the little brother, I was exposed to all of the things that they seen and that they did, the movies, the music, the sense of fashion, the slang, the behavior. That's why, when I first started getting into the workforce and I would be around people that were 10 plus years older than me, sometimes I would surprise them with being familiar with certain things, whether it was sayings, whether it was movies, whether it was whatever it was that related to their time when they were a more youthful person. They were shocked, but I had to explain, hey, I have siblings your age. So even though you look at me as a youngster, my soul probably isn't. And I can even relate going going further than that, depending on what we're talking about, like if it's music and movies, because my father was pretty old school. You know what I'm saying? So he exposed me to some old school stuff from back in the day. But to keep it G, I think it would be easier in a weird. I know this may sound weird, but it probably would be easier for me to relate to people 10 years older than me than 10 years younger than me, depending on conversations. I'm not saying that younger people you can't relate to them. There's just a handful of them though, and that's because of what they've probably experienced in life, right? So let me look. I got look like there's some comments in here. Let's see what we got. Okay. To be honest, even when us women are only 2 and 5 years older, we know what we're doing. Okay. It's a good point. A lot of us women date younger to have a little bit more control. I do believe that. I do believe that. Shout out to the chat. I definitely believe that wholeheartedly that that women know what they're doing and they do date younger because of some control. Women like control. You know what I'm saying? I know women, there's women that want to be led, but some women out there that like control. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that because everybody's entitled to their own opinion, dealing with their own situation. But with Terrence J, I can't bash the guy because I don't personally know him. I don't know his personal dating experiences. I don't know what he's been through. I don't know if he pursued her, if she pursued him. We make a lot of assumptions in this climate because of social media and this is the most access we've had to celebrities, politicians, all of that stuff in probably any form of history. You could literally get into a Twitter argument with the president of the United States. Think about that for a minute, people. In 2025, you can get into an argument online with the president of the United States because I do believe Donald Trump would respond to some of y'all. I do. But that's the time that we're living in. And so when we get access to people's personal life and decisions, or you see them out, you can pull out your phone, you can create a different narrative. You really have an opportunity to have an opinion about things that people didn't have a chance to have an opinion about years ago. So when I look at the Terrence J situation, would I do that? Could I see myself doing that at 41? Nah. Do I think he's a terrible guy or he's a weirdo for doing it? I don't. I just look at it like I wouldn't do it, but I don't know, man. I don't know how they do it. I think that's my best idea about it. I don't know how they do it. And maybe if I had an understanding of what they see and what they understand, it would hit different. You know what I'm saying? So that's just me. Let me see. We got some more comments. It's only a situation because they are celebrities and it's news. There are age gap couples on social media and people love them. That's believable. Now, what I will say this. That's very believable, and I know that they're out there. I know this isn't a first time ever in history. I just think certain things are shock value because of social media. But what I will say is that when I think about like people that I personally know, I've went to high school with some women that are married to men that are, you can tell just visually that their husband is a lot older than them. So, we can't, I think we can agree and say we can't determine what makes a person happy or not, but it's more common than what we think. You know what I'm saying? It's definitely more common than what we think. Who knows? Some of these people may work out, but you know what? I will say this. And a lot of millennials would probably know that this is true. So millennials, Gen X, and older, right? We got to remember some of our grandfathers were a lot older than our grandmothers, and we never really thought about it because by the time, we got older, they both just looked old. But that was a common thing. Like back in the day, our grandparents, they did have significant age gaps. That is true, and that was just a thing. However, I do kind of understand perspectives, right? So I understand that a lot of times for some men when they date younger, they feel like it's, and don't take this the wrong way, but sometimes when men date younger, they feel like it's a blank canvas, right? They're younger, they may be more mature for their age, or the stereotype behind their age, and she may be more easier to be submissive and be guided. A lot of women, when they get older, when you hear content creators and men talk about women getting older, they always talk about it from a perspective of they're just not going to be that attractive, or they're not just going to be that easy. But they never really go into the context of why certain things may be. As women get older, they also go through things. They're also more guarded. So it's not always about attacking and saying, oh, you're this age, so you're not going to work. Sometimes men feel like they don't have enough time and energy to try to unpack and knock down that wall and try to gain trust from somebody because of all of the BS and trauma that they dealt with and that they went through prior to meeting you. So some guys are like, I'd rather go deal with someone younger who still is excited about life, who hasn't been broken all the way down to their last emotion. And that's some of the decisions that, some men make. And the same thing goes for younger women. A lot of younger women, they'll date older men because they feel like the men their age are immature. They feel like the men their age don't have their stuff together, or they're tired of the same old pattern. There's a lot of younger women and younger men that feel like they were born in the wrong generation. And I believe that for some people. But I do understand younger women, even when they go for the guys in college, when they were in high school, what did a lot of those guys in college have? They had their own place to stay. They had a car. It seemed like they had a little bit more money. I mean, they could definitely get away with faking it till they make it better than somebody in high school. Somebody that got to go home every day and take the trash out and drama like that. So I definitely see both sides. I definitely agree with a lot of the comments in the comment section. You know what I mean? And it looks like we got some more. Yeah, Demi Moore and Ashton Kutcher, age gap of 15 years. Nobody said nothing about that. That was way back when he wasn't so common. That is true. I definitely remember that. I remember that age gap and when they were dating, man. I definitely remember that. So yeah, man, just continue to leave y'all comments, man. Let me know what y'all think about that. But that's my synopsis on that. I'm gonna jump into something that I thought was interesting, and I'm gonna play this in reverse for a sense because I just found this interesting. We still on the man and woman conversation and controversial stuff, but I want to play this real quick. I want y'all to tell me what y'all think about this. Let me see what we got.
There's drama in sports.
There's so much drama.
Yeah, that's right. If I listen to ESPN for an hour, it's like watching The Real Housewives of Atlanta.
Absolutely.
I mean, it's the same drama, and they're yelling at each other, and they don't get along. I mean, Stephen A. Smith, he's just like every other talk show host.
Real Housewife.
He would be.
Right.
It
would be amazing.
So that's why I'm like, what's the difference? It's just, it's just sociological drama.
Okay. So you heard it from the former first lady. The first time I heard this, because I came across this as well, I was actually surprised. I'm like, damn, they just took a shot at Stephen A. Smith. He was minding his own business, and they just took a shot. I humbly disagree with the former first lady. Respect to the Obamas. I definitely disagree because those reality shows, they're throwing drinks, they're fighting, it's staged, it's scripted, and everything else. But I wanted to share Stephen A. Smith's response. I'm not gonna say I was super shocked that he responded, but I was on the fence if he was gonna respond or not. So here's a couple takes of Stephen A. Smith responding to the former first lady about her comments about ESPN's comparison to reality TV and Real Housewives.
Former first lady in the United States of America, somebody that I personally revere and believe to be the greatest first lady in American history. That's my personal opinion, and I stand by it. Smart, very attractive, highly intelligent, very accomplished, wonderful values and morals. As far as I'm concerned, She's the closest thing to perfection I've ever seen from a first lady in the White House. That's just how I feel about it. Michelle Obama, I want to take this opportunity to remind you that while you are revered by me personally, and I truly, truly mean that with the greatest sincerity, I'm still a bit salty at you. When you were campaigning on behalf of the former Vice President Kamala Harris, who I'll get into in a minute, by the way, and you were giving a speech, I believe it was in...
Okay, that's part one. He got cut off. Let's go ahead and throw the second part in there and let him finish.
Detroit, if I remember correctly, but I'm not sure. It was in the middle of the day. It was carried live. You said a vote for Trump was a vote against you and a vote against y'all as women. I want to state for the record, I took major offense to that. Black men don't just love our black women. We revere y'all.
All right, so he's kind of building up to what he really want to say. But what do y'all think about that? Let me go ahead. Let me read some of the comments. We got a comment right here. Let's see what this says. Shaq and Chuck are gold, though. Laugh out loud. I agree. I humbly agree again. I'm sorry. They're TV gold. There we go. I agree. I don't know where the former first lady was going with that. I don't know why Stephen A. Smith was the target. Because there's a whole lot more people on. You had Shannon Sharp, you had Skip Bayless. I know the show shut down, and even some of the women, Joy Taylor, Malika Andrews. I'm not really a fan of, but you have all these different personalities that help make sports and ESPN. Because even though she took a shot at Stephen A. Smith and ESPN, I also felt like she was just taking a shot at sports analytics altogether, sports analysts, I'm sorry. And so I understood where Stephen A. Smith, was feeling a little offended, and looks like he took the time to go down memory lane about all the other things that he disagreed with instead of just diving into, y'all know Stephen A. Smith, man. Y'all know Stephen A. Smith is going to take his time with a rebuttal. He want to handcraft that verbal slap back, right? But as far as the Obamas, one thing that feels cringy is, their views as regular people like us. And to keep it real, I'm going to keep it 100 with y'all. I think the reason why we feel the way we feel about the Obamas when they speak out and say their own personal views is because we like to remember people one way. We like to think that they can say no wrong, they can do no wrong. We're gonna always agree with them and what they say. And I feel like a lot of times when we look at our heroes or we look at people that we support and that we supported, we expect them to only be one way. And sometimes it's unfair to them, and sometimes we're lying to ourselves. Barack Obama has views as a man that every man is not going to agree with. Michelle Obama has views that, every woman or every black woman is not going to agree with, and they're entitled to that. And I don't necessarily feel like they should be bashed for it. However, when you are wrong, you can create an unnecessary narrative or a damaging narrative to a brand or to an individual that I think needs to be respected. But what I'm going to do is I am going to continue to let Stephen A. Smith talk, but I want to make sure that I'm not playing too much of some mumbo jumbo, but I'll just play it through. Let's see.
You've practically raised most of us.
Never mind. I'm not going to play that. Bro's going too hard. Let me go through one of these.
And to say what you said back then, I think to this day is the only thing that I didn't like that you said. I didn't appreciate it. Because there's so many things that go into deciding where your vote is going to go. For some people, it's all about the economy. For others, it's all about national security. For some people, it is immigration. For some people, it's safety in the streets of America. Long before they think about pro-choice or pro-life. I'm talking about men. There's a reason why Trump got about 57% and Kamala Harris ended up with 42, even though Biden had won the young male vote 4 years earlier. Because life changes and other issues become more pertinent to people. Now, I voted for Kamala.
Okay. I don't feel like he had to go hard and say who he voted for. And I could tell he's taking his time with trying to be respectful as possible while kind of being offended and pissed off. I don't understand the shot at Stephen A. Smith. It's real easy to criticize Stephen A. Smith because he be wilding sometimes, but I don't know where that came from. I don't know if there's some behind the scenes things that he said in the past and they finally got an opportunity to say what they needed to say. But I definitely wholeheartedly disagree with the former First Lady on that. Reality TV is an acquired taste, and it definitely is connected to personality. Like, I'm not judging. I'm just saying you have a certain type of personality to really be invested in not only reality TV, but even certain types of shows that perpetuate certain narratives and certain behaviors. You know what I mean? And when I say certain type of person, you just have the type of mindset where that's your type of entertainment. So don't try to read too deep into what Dizzy is saying right now, all right? Man. But I will say that I disagree with the former First Lady. I'll say it over and over again. Now, Stephen A. Smith took until, New Year's Day to land his plane on what he disagreed with. He definitely was, digging up some old stuff to kind of have something to debate with her on or, share his sentiments. But for the most part, his rebuttal was respectful. As somebody that's a huge sports fan, I wholeheartedly and humbly disagree with the former First Lady. The Obamas are saying a lot of controversial things that are, triggering the people, specifically black folks. I definitely don't think it's a good reason or a reason at all to feel a way about Barack and Michelle. They still are professional. They still are revered in our community, and they still did a great job in the White House as far as in representation and professionalism. But I will agree with the masses, and some conversations they just sometimes are not good at, okay? The campaign style of certain things that they were trying to promote to get people to vote for Kamala, not really a fan. And before y'all think that I'm feeling away, I personally will put myself out there. I voted for Kamala too. I did. Because the guy that's in office, he failed the first time. So why would we give somebody their job back if we fired him? Anyways. But so with me saying that, I just think that certain conversations and certain perspectives should be left with certain people. And you know what? There's people on the internet that might feel that way about me. Don't care. Still got my platform. Still gonna do my thing. But that's our perspective. Some things that Barack Obama say, I'm just like, bro, why? And that's one of those moments that I feel for the former First Lady. So I'm with Stephen A. Smith on that. ESPN and sports shows are not like Real Housewives and reality TV because that's brain rotting. At least sports and sports analysts and analytics are actually productive. Okay, so that alone right there, it's a contribution to society. Reality TV is not a contribution to society outside of entertainment, but there's more productivity, I believe, in sports and entertainment. So that's my take on it. Y'all go ahead. Y'all leave y'all comments. I appreciate you guys leaving comments. We're going to jump into this final topic that I wanted to get into, something that I found very interesting. All right. So I please comment. Let me know what you think about these conversations and these talking points. But I want to play something I came across social media.
I pay too much money for my upkeep to be having free conversations. I had somebody reach out to me. They have been reaching out to me in my DMs, and I was kind of ignoring it, just leaving them on red because I'm not interested. And today they consistently message me, And so I said, okay, I'll answer. This morning I had a shampoo appointment. And so I answered, and they were like, am I disturbing you? And I said, I don't converse with men that I don't know. And they said, well, let's change that. And I said, well, I'm actually on the way to go get my hair done. You gonna contribute to that?
You know why I stopped the video. Y'all know why I stopped the video. I'm gonna keep playing because I'm not gonna go on a rant. I'm gonna let her get her stuff off, and then we're gonna hear the full synopsis. But I just have a question, and if you mind leaving an answer to this question in the chat, please do. Why is it there's millions of these videos just like this on the internet? Why do women conflate a man approaching them to get to know them with finances and helping with their personal finances? Why is that, and where does that come from? Why is it so common, and why are women today so comfortable asking a complete stranger that doesn't even know you yet, are they going to contribute to your life financially just to get time with you? Just throw that in there. Throw that in there. We gon' let me know what you think in the chat. We're going to keep going.
They sent a long paragraph asking me to explain why they should do that. And they said now they understand the kind of woman that I am, on and on and on. And I said, no problem. No worries. Have a good day. I feel like this. I keep my nails done, keep my toes done. So nails, toes, every month. I get my hair done every month. This is a luxury style. I keep my hair up, right? So
yes, I paused it. I did pause it because I got something to say. What does that have to do with dating, relationships? When a woman, and these are questions, please leave your comments in the chat. What does you getting your nails done, your hair done, and your responsibilities as an individual and adult, why is that leveraged in some type of way? I'm just curious. Maybe there's something. I've been a C student. I went to summer school a lot. So just help me. Help me understand. All right? What is that about? I'm going to keep going though. Keep going.
my hair done every month. Nails, toes, hair. I own my home. I got an acre of land. I have to get my grass cut. I get my yard work done by myself. All of that is covered by myself. I have a nice body. I get that done in the gym. I have a gym membership. I clothe my nice body with nice clothes. And so I have to go shopping. And I wear makeup, which I enjoy. And in the comments, I don't care what you got to say about makeup. But I also spend money on that. And so to keep this up, I also eat on a meal plan that I have created. And so for that meal plan, I have to go grocery shopping to eat off of the meal plan that I have created.
Aren't these personal choices and necessities?
And so all of this takes money. It takes money to upkeep this. And so why am I having free conversations? And it is okay. It is.
When did people pay for conversations outside of calling hotlines?
Okay if you don't feel the way that I feel and you are having free conversations. But I think about this, especially if you're messaging me when I'm on the way to an appointment where I'm about to spend hundreds of dollars to get my hair washed.
But how do we know what you're doing if we're just reaching out to say, how are you doing? Anyways.
That big ass head. Look at your hairline. You will never find blom, 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 a hairline like mine.
I hate the internet.
Your shit is way back here. If you was in the army, you had to sloop like this. Yes, sir.
I hate the internet, man. I didn't know that was at the end of that clip. I just downloaded it so I could talk to y'all about it. I've heard this for years on the internet. Okay, I've heard this a lot on the internet for years, and I really understand that this is a real thing where a lot of women really do feel and believe that you should pay for their time. And to keep it real in a weird way, I think we always paid for their time it just wasn't so aggressive and so malicious, right? So like as young men, you know, when you first start dating, you pay for a woman's time, but it would be because you want to ask them out on a date. And if you had your own car, yeah, you got to gas your car up. If you want to get a haircut because you want to look presentable for her, you go get your haircut. All of those things you didn't even, us men, we didn't count. We didn't count that as how much we spent on the date. A lot of times we counted what we spent during the actual time of the date, right? And it was dinner, it was movie, and whatever extracurricular activities that you would do. So in a technically we did pay for a woman's time. That's probably a fair assessment. I just don't understand what is the point of paying for someone's time that you are not even 100% sure that they're interested, that they're a genuine person. And even if they were all of the positives, why would you have to pay for someone's time? I don't understand that. Now, at the end of the video, you heard some clowning. It was clowning on her forehead and stuff like that. That is not me. I did not edit any of that stuff into the video. But I would love to know from the women. I would love to know if there's men that actually agree with this. What is the point? And my thing is, when you're talking about approaching a woman and a woman wanting to go on a date with you or interested in dating you, there's a couple things that I think about. And the things that I think about is there's a genuine interest. You see somebody from afar, you think they're attractive, you think that they might be your speed. And so as a man, you go approach her. And then within the first 20 to 30 seconds, she's deciding whether she wants to continue to engage with you or engage with you at all. And you're supposed to be building something organically. Now, I'm going to say something for, just personally using myself as an example. I think why a lot of these women are taking L's and why they are blending in so well with women that are known to be Jezebels and 304s is because of the mindset. The mindset is too transactional. You see, 304s, traditional 304s, you got something strange for a piece of change, right? And so now the only difference is from the way it sounds when you hear women talking like that, it just sounds like a better way of saying it with better structured contracts, right? When I dated, when I was single, it was nothing like this. When me and my wife started to engage with each other, it was a lot of things that were organic. It wasn't like, well, I got to get up in the morning, so if I oversleep, you got to pay me for every hour that I oversleep. Or, I'm going to get my hair done this day, and so if you want me to kick it with you after because the hair is brand new, you don't have to pay me for that because you're getting it exclusive. Like, it was none of that. I don't even know who started this. I don't know if it was by female rappers. I don't know if it was by rappers that was making tricking type songs, but I don't think this is working. If women have to get online and make disclaimers like this, your standards and your requirements are not working. That's why you have to have a disclaimer. And for the record, when women do this, and I just want you women to know, you women that really think like this and really feel this way, I want you to know something. When you put a disclaimer like that out on video for the whole entire planet to see, you just made yourself, I don't want to say a target, but you just put a label on yourself that nobody should approach you. No man is going to watch something like that. No man in their right mind is going to watch something like that and be like, okay, those are the requirements. All right, this is everything in the syllabus. All right, I'm going for it. You just said, don't come near me. And maybe that was her intent. Maybe she's tired of people sliding in her DMs. A lot of women are getting upset with men hollering at them and sliding in their DMs and comments. I'm going to tell you like this. Y'all better appreciate it. Y'all better appreciate it because we all get older and we going to look back at how we used to look. And at least you'll have proof that people felt the way about you. Don't treat your fans like that. All right, stop treating your fans crazy. But on a serious note, women that and this is coming from a married man, okay? It doesn't work. If you're going to be materialistic and you're going to be that transactional, you got to understand it goes both ways. If you make it seem like that a man is only paying for your time and that's it, that doesn't make you exclusive. That makes you someone that could be bought and that a man can have access to. So why would a man commit to that? If your time can be bought and not earned, then why would a man commit to you and say that you are the only one? Then these same women that do this are mad because, I found out he had another girlfriend and a wife and kids on the side. Well, he was just paying you for time. You are probably lowest on the totem pole because it's transactional. So when you say things like you need to pay for my hair, you need to pay for my nails, just like that movement. I don't know if y'all remember social media some years ago. There was this movement of women that said they weren't going to do wife type stuff until they got the ring. Well, those standards that you have is husband material standards. Husbands pay for nails. Husbands pay for hair. Husbands buy cars, and husbands massage feet and have joint accounts and all of that stuff. What a lot of these women are not understanding that they're requiring on the internet is husband behavior requirements. So unless you look at that man as a potential husband, you probably should not be requiring that. And then here's my thing too. For you women that have these requirements and have these standards, right? Check this out. Watch this. I'm going to give you some game. When you make these disclaimers and you put these videos out on the internet, you should probably put at the end of all of your demands, since you're the new Bin Laden with all of these demands, you should probably put what the benefits are going to be. Right? What will a man gain by treating you this way? I think if a lot of y'all women were more smooth with your game, with your demands about what a man should be doing with you financially, you would probably be able to catch one on the line when you say, a man that does this is what I'm looking for. And I don't have time for you if you're not willing to do this. However, me getting this allows me to give you that. That's a good salesman or saleswoman, right? That's how you sell and how you market yourself. A lot of women, let me tell you something. This is going to sound controversial. You may not agree with this. I feel like a lot of women are single, or a lot of women are settling, which I've had an opinion about settling on the other channel, because you're not good. You guys don't market and advertise yourself well. See, men, a lot of us men, a lot of times we're better than y'all at marketing and advertising ourselves, because you were the consumer, right? We have years and years from grade school. We have years and years of experience of getting shot down and practicing on how to approach the girl that we want. That's why we're better at it. Y'all were the ones getting approached, so y'all never had to really develop that skill. But I'm going to get more into that. I want to read some comments because I feel like I got some comments in here. Okay, so she's a homeowner, seems pretty responsible, so I get not wanting to waste time. But girl, and how old is she? These are very good questions. Very, 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 very good questions. Keep the questions rolling in. There's some good points there. She does have her stuff together. However, we got to go back to the requirements. She literally said, okay, I'm on my way to a hair appointment and you want my time. Do you want to contribute to that? That right there, that was so irrelevant. You know what I'm saying? Like, you could have said, hey, I'm going to get my hair done. I'll talk to you maybe later. Or if you want to come up to the shop, you can, which would have gave him a good opportunity. Here's some game for y'all. So I'm going to go up to the shop while she's getting her hair done, slide her some lunch, and then I'm going to dip out. And I done left a good mark on her. The other girls are jealous. Like, oh, that's a good one. You know, just that's the scenario. That's all I'm saying. But back on, what I was saying earlier, when women are in these situations with these requirements with men, we are better at marketing. Okay, we are better at marketing and advertising ourselves than you are, because you guys really don't have to do that, like really ever. You know what I'm saying? Unless you just have this aura about you that makes people not want to approach you. We have years, thousands of hours of experience with being shot down. Any dude that says he's never been shot down or curved, he's lying. It is standard as a guy. It's like a rite of passage. You know what I'm saying? You've gotten curved or declined by somebody you were interested in. So with us men, we've had to practice over and over again to have our game tight, to have our approach right to women. So I think, and I really believe in my heart, a lot of women aren't advertising and marketing themselves well, especially when y'all get on camera and start talking the way this woman was talking. But as far as in advertising yourself, let's keep it transparent. The way you dressed is going to bring a certain type of energy to you. Now, some women are amazing looking, and it doesn't matter what they wear, they're going to get harassed, okay? But there are specific costumes that you wear that's going to attract specific supervillains. I'm speaking in comic terms right now. I'm a comic nerd, forgive me. So whatever costume you have, you dress like Batman, the Joker going to come for you, okay? That's my analogy. So, you know, with that being said, that's the advertising part, but marketing yourself as a woman, I feel like that's been kind of a lost part of the substance with dating culture, because, you know, when you're having a conversation with someone and you don't want to ruin it, you know, you want to kind of build yourself up and put yourself up there like you're worthy of a great situation. So what we do, we try to make sure we smell good. We try to make sure we're dressed nice, and we try to approach and we try to talk soft and respectful and give you compliments and all of these different things to make you understand that we're interested. But somewhere down the line, a lot of women lost what they did to keep the guy interested and to keep guys interested in you or to make you interesting. You've heard so many men say a lot of men don't care about a woman's money and accomplishments because we understand that that's for her, and that is a true thing. But a lot of people get triggered by that because they're not thinking about the actual words. A lot of men don't care about what these women have. Boys and immature guys, they care about that stuff because you're probably doing better than them. And when we say that men don't care about this stuff, all we're simply saying is that you cannot have that stuff and still potentially be interesting. That's what we're saying. There's a lot of men out here that's dated and got into serious relationships and even married women that were broke and did not have nothing, or came from the hood, or, you know, she was a waitress working at blah, 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 and he thought she was attractive and she was polite. And a man with a lot of money will take a woman out of that situation because he's genuinely interested in her or heavily attracted to her. That is the difference in how we look at dating and how men look at dating versus women. Women look at things that are more going to make sure that they can secure stability in their life. You feel me? And so when this woman, who kind of seems like she might be a little on the immature side, just based off how she was coming off, leading with the finances and that being the standard of checking those boxes just to have your time is very, very understandable now on why so many women are single and why so many guys are single. Because think about it. If everything is transactional with these women, then guys just feel like, well, all I got to do is have my money up and I can mess with her, because it's not about morals and standards. And a lot of these women are single when they really want to be in a relationship because they're coming off to these men like they're only transactional. Let me get this straight, all right? And let me say this for the record. Women wanting men to have certain things together in their life, there's nothing wrong with that, because if you're dealing with men, he'll already have most of those things. But when you start saying things are coming off like he's supposed to take care of you, like he's supposed to take care of the children that you should hopefully have together, it's going to be a turnoff. You're going to run these guys away. And it doesn't help when you guys do this when we see every other month rich men and rich black men at that, having to pay somebody from a settlement in a civil suit. And we're looking at all of the thousands of dollars that women are making off accusations and dudes tricking. So when a woman sounds like that, they immediately think, oh, my money is going to evaporate. I am not doing this. She is the sun and my wallet is water. No. So, I think it's crazy. I've seen these videos all the time, and I finally wanted to react to it in real time and have a conversation with you guys on live. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to get out of here and wrap this up. But please let me know what you think in the comment section. And if you don't got nothing to say and you think that somebody can relate to some of the conversations we had, or they would have a piece to say in the comment section, please send this conversation, this live, to people, okay? It is definitely going to be posted on the Notion podcast page. Go ahead, comment on the topics. Let me know what you think. You've been tuning in to the Notion Podcast Live with your boy, Dizzy Dspill. Like, subscribe, turn the notifications on at the bell, and until next week, peace.